everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this table runner. Now when I first released it I called it the fall table runner because I made it in these beautiful fall colors. And this yarn is from the Caron Big Cakes and the name of the yarn is called Cranberry Crisp. It's got some cranberries and some orange, some beiges, even a little bit of purple and lots of orange. And I did the trim in an off-white so it would look a little bit lacy, but not too fancy. Now this one measures about 12 inches across and about 20 inches long. And that's because I only want it to fit the center of my table. But this pattern is so versatile, you can make it as long as you want to. Now this is a free crochet pattern on my blog, and you can find that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. For today's demonstration, I'm going to be using this. This is Hirschner's Holiday Pastry Puff yarn. It's called Hollyberry. And it's a 70% acrylic and 30% wool yarn. And I thought this one looked so beautiful in fall colors, I wanted to make one in Christmas colors. And I wanted to use a cake yarn that had the colors that change. And I couldn't find any Christmassy ones. And then I found this online from Hirschner's Holiday Pastry Puff yarn. And this is what I'm going to be using today for our demonstration. I'm going to be using my H hook, which is a 5.00 millimeter crochet hook. You'll also need a needle for weaving in your ends and a pair of scissors. And I've also decided I'm not going to do the trim like I did in this one in the off-white. I'm going to go ahead and just use the Christmas colors that are on the cake. Now you're going to need about 3.5 ounces or more, depending on how long you want to make yours. To get started, we're going to begin with our slip knot, and then we're going to chain 47 chains. Now remember, we're going to be stitching into these chains, so don't make your chains too tight. I've chained my 47 chains. I'm going to begin by stitching a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. Those first 3 chains will count as one double crochet. Then we'll double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, and then we'll double crochet in each of the chains across, placing one double crochet in each chain. And just in case you don't remember how to do your double crochet, yarn over, go in the chain, and pull up a loop. There'll be 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and pull through the second 2. That's your double crochet. So I'm just going to stitch one double crochet in each chain across. I've completed my row of double crochets, and you need to have 45 double crochets because we began stitching in the 4th chain from the hook, and those first 3 chains counted as one double crochet. So you need 45 double crochets. We're going to chain 3, and the chain 3 on every row counts as your first double crochet. We're going to double crochet in the next 4 double crochets. And because our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, we have 5 double crochets. We're going to chain 5. Then we're going to skip the next 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll double crochet in that next stitch. And then we'll double crochet in the next 4. And this is the way this row will work. Chain 5, skip 5, 1 double crochet in the next 5. Chain 5, skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then double crochet in the next 5. And then we'll repeat that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll double crochet in the next 5. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll double crochet. Let me count those again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'll double crochet in those last 5 stitches. And don't forget that last stitch is that beginning chain 3 on this row. There we go. And now we're going to chain 3. And this is the way that it should look. Now, if you want to make it wider, you're going to need to add additional 10 chains because you need 5 double crochets and 5 chains to make it wider and to make everything work with the stitch pattern. So you can add or subtract if you want to make it even more narrow. 10 chain increments. All right? And this is how your first 2 rows should look. Row 3 is pretty much the same as row 2. The only difference is we don't have to count our skips. So our chain 3 counts is our first double crochet, and then we'll double crochet in the next 4. Again, we're going to chain 5. And then we'll place a double crochet in those 5 double crochets. And then we'll repeat that. Chain 5, 1 double crochet in the next 5 double crochets. There we go. This yarn is a little bit slicker than most of the worsted weight number 4s that I've worked with. It's very pretty, and it's going to have a beautiful shine to it for my table runner. Alrighty, so now we've done our chain 5, 1 double crochet, and those 5 double crochets. There we go. And we'll repeat the last one. 5 chains and 1 double crochet in those last 5 double crochets. Do that one over since I pulled on it. There we go. Chain 3, and that's the way that row 3 will look. Now for row 4, we're going to turn our work. Our chain 3 again counts as our first double crochet. We're going to double crochet in those 4 double crochets. We're going to only chain 2, and then we're going to single crochet around these 2 chain 5s. So we'll go around, pull up our loop, yarn over and go through both loops, and then chain 2. Now we'll double crochet in those 5 double crochets. That's called a butterfly stitch or a bow tie stitch. It's been called both, and I don't care which it's called. I love it. I think it's a beautiful stitch, and it works up quickly, and it makes a wonderful, wonderful table runner. See right there, it looks like a butterfly or a bow tie. All right, so we're going to chain 2. We're going to single crochet around those 2 chain 5s and chain 2. Then we'll double crochet in the next 5 stitches. Chain 2, single crochet around those chain 5s and chain 2, 1 and 2, and again 1 double crochet in those 5 double crochets. Chain 2, here's our last one, and then 1 double crochet in those last 5 double crochets. There we go. I must have had that one a little bit snug. It happens. All right, let me go ahead and chain 3. And this is the way that it should look. We've got our 5 double crochets, chain 2, single crochet around the 2 chain 5s, chain 2, and then 5 double crochets. And you repeat that across. I brought the camera out just a little bit so you could see how it looks completely across. We've got our 5 double crochets on each end with our bow ties, 5 double crochet bow ties in between. And this is the way that the rest of the runner is made. You'll repeat these 3 rows until you reach the length that you want. Now, for a 20-inch, you're going to need to repeat these 3 rows 10 times if you're making it about the same size as mine. So you would make 11 bow ties because you'd be repeating all 3 rows 10 times. The 5 double crochets, chain 5, 5 double crochets for 2 rows, and then the bow tie, chain 2, single crochet around those 2 chains, chain 2, and then the 5 double crochets, and you'll repeat those 3 rows for 10 times or more if you want your runner to be longer. So I have done my runner, repeating those 3 rows 10 times. And now it's time to finish off. And once you finish, you need to make sure that you repeat row 2 one more time. And so I've got my chain 3, and I'm going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of these 5 stitches. Then I'm going to chain 5, and stitch double crochets in these 5 double crochets. And we need this extra row because we're going to put a row of double crochets for the end of our table runner, so we can add that little ruffle. And so what I'm doing here is just repeating row 2, which is the 5 double crochets, 5 chains, 5 double crochets, 5 chains across. So I finished repeating row 2 across the end, and I'm going to turn my work. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch a row of double crochets so that this end, where we have the row of double crochets, is the same as this end. And that just gives you a finish and a place to put that little ruffle edge. So I'm going to place a double crochet in each of the double crochets. And again, our chain 3 counts as our first one. And then we'll place 5 double crochets in this chain 5. Now I'm stitching them around the chain 5. If you would prefer to stitch them in the chain themselves, you certainly can do that. I just like doing it around the chain. As long as you've got 5 stitches, so it doesn't change the stitch count, both ways are fine. So I'm stitching a double crochet in each double crochet, and then 5 double crochets in the chain 5 space, or you can stitch them in the chain itself, working all the way across for a nice even edge of double crochets. I completed this row of double crochets, stitching 1 in each double crochet and 5 in the chain 5 space. And if you would prefer to stitch them in those 5 chains, you can do that also. If I was going to be changing colors like I did with the fall one, where I have the off-white row of ruffle or trim, I would tie off and join that in. But I'm going to continue with my Christmas red. And so what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, skip the next, and then single crochet in the next. And we'll do this all the way across. 1, 2, 3, skip the next, and single crochet in the next stitch. There we go. 1, 2, 3, skip, and single crochet in the next. And you can see that forms just a nice little ruffle, nothing too fancy, but just enough to give it a nice edge. And if you want a fancier edge, go for it. Make a really fancy edge. Isn't that pretty? 1, 2, 3, skip, and single crochet in the next. And I'll do this all the way across, and then I'll have to join the other end in to add the ruffle so that there's a ruffle on both ends. I completed the ruffle on this end. Cut that yarn, and I'll take my needle and weave that in. Make sure I'm on the back side, going through some stitches and some fibers of the yarn. This yarn reminds me a little bit of the Caron Simply Soft in the texture and the shininess of it. Whoops. So it's very pretty, pretty for Christmas. There we go. And now I need to just do the other end and I'll be all done. So here's the other end. And I'm going to turn it over. And we'll just join our yarn in. And this is the way you would do it if you were doing the off-white color with the fall table runner. You just join it in, do your chain 3, skip the next stitch, and single crochet in the next. 1, 2, 3, and the same thing. And you'd work it exactly the same all the way across so that both ends had a nice little ruffled edge. So whether you're going to make one for fall or for Christmas or any holiday, it's a quick and easy table runner that works up beautifully.